Hello. I love it when there's such a full audience,
So
especially when we get to talk about love and sex. The best topic. Who loves love and sex? Let's just do a raise of hands.
And robots.
Yes, come on. That's not half the room. Do the rest of you not like love? Do you not like sex? Do we just do horror films? Anyway, thank you for joining us. My name is Anisah Osman Britton. I am a Startup Life reporter at Sifted, where we cover European tech, and I specifically cover Startup Life. So what it takes to build a business, not the bullshit of massive valuations. And in my spare time, I write about love and sex in the South Asian diaspora with something called Brown Bodies. And I have a wonderful panelist, Alex. Alex, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Oh, yeah, actually I'm Alex, and I'm founder and CEO of two dating apps, Highly, like general dating app, and Taimi, it's most inclusive LGBTQ plus social and dating app. Yeah, we have been doing this for the last 6 years, so the apps are really big for now, and we are connecting people in all the way.
And where are you based?
We based all over the world with the offices in United Kingdom, in the United States, Cyprus, and Ukraine. We started from Ukraine, but we are a truly international company.
Okay, so let's context set. How many of you here, if you're with your work colleagues, you don't have to put your hands up, but how many of you here have a dating app on your phone? How many of you have used it while you've been in Lisbon? It's really interesting, right? It's a massive way that people socialize. It's not just dating as well. So what is the current state of the dating app world? What are you seeing?
The dating is changing with every year, especially changed after the COVID. So we saw like a big shift from I will never use a dating app to the, oh, it's a great thing to communicate, to find new connection and new romance relationships. So as for now, as I remember it correctly, there are 1,500 dating apps and websites, and the user base of dating apps is for now more than 340 million all over the world. So the supply and the demand is growing.
So it's really interesting, you said it used to be stigmatized and now it's become a lot more popular. Yeah. People are using it to date, to socialize. Is it just a distraction though? Is it another way of us numbing our minds by swiping, or is there real use case for love? And well, we do know that it is used for sex, but is there a real use case there for finding a life partner, for example?
It depends. It depends on the application, on the product. It depends on the goal. Which one you achieve using the dating apps. So I believe gamification is like a great process to help users in some ways to start conversations, to start the journey on finding a new connection or a relationship. And we surely need to be aware how to use it properly, the gamification process, and so on and so forth, like artificial intelligence features. We really want to help our user to start the communication, but we definitely don't want to substitute the real conversation and the real connection with the features of both artificial intelligence and so on.
But isn't that what a lot of us are doing? We live in a very disconnected world, even though we're hyper-connected with our phones. Are we using dating apps as a way to alleviate loneliness, just with the fact that we have choice? Maybe we're not talking to them, maybe we're not actually going to meet up with them. Is it, again, like I say, like a distraction?
Yeah, it depends. And today we had a really great conversation with my new friend Emily, and we raised the question about ghosting as a process while you have so many new people to connect with. And we said that, yeah, it would be real great to have a feature where you could warn some users not to do bad things on the dating apps. So you could educate your user how to do it properly, how to be like more positive in a way how to establish a strong connection and a strong relationship.
Okay, so people are here to learn a bit about AI and the dating world. How does the matchmaking process work within your apps, and what is the role of AI in that?
It's an interesting question because I believe we started using AI like a year ago, but not in a way to help our users to establish a connection, but in a way to create more secure space within a dating app. So with all the process of moderation, security checks on the user, is it real profile, is it fake profile, is it catfishing profile, and so on and so forth.
Is that AI or is that just someone in the back doing it?
No, it's the shift in process. Now I believe we have 70% of the moderation are going through AI algorithms, and 30% is like hand moderation system after the AI. But then we decided that it would be great to use ML algorithms and AI in a way that we could create in some way an assistant to the user, not just to substitute the conversation, but to help users to start the conversation, to break the ice, maybe in a way to plan the first date, because I don't know, as for me, the first date is always like stressful event, and you have to understand what your partner wants, what do you want, what the places do you like, and so on and so forth. And I believe here we have a really good chance to create some great features within AI algorithms. So you just push the button, I want to date with this person. The person said yes, and the magic is happening.
Nice. Is it also helping the process of matching as well? Like, is the algorithm learning what people like and dislike and then serving them maybe more similar profiles to that?
Yeah, for sure. So many companies started to do that. We actually as well trying to understand how to do it properly, because I believe the main way is not to abuse AI in all ways in a dating. So we don't want to end up like your ML bot speaking to my ML bot, and they have a really great conversation, but then we meet in real life and we don't know what to say to each other.
Can you talk me through that? Because when ChatGPT came onto the scene in a really big way, one of the biggest use cases I saw everywhere was, oh my God, I can get them to sort out my dating profile, and I now have a pipeline of people I can go on dates with, and then you get on the date and you're like, well, you're not that person. So what is it that has done for the dating world in terms of expectations and in terms of choice?
I believe it's on the dating app that's not to overuse those algorithms, because like if you do this, if you make the conversation behalf of you, like from the point of AI doing all of behind of you, so it would be a substitute. So I believe it's not a great way to establish new connection, new relationship. We only see the way to use it in a way how to help our user, or how to help people to start the conversation, because it is not obvious, but for so many people it's a struggling process to write the first message like, hey, hello, or how are you? So in a way we need to help them, but we definitely don't want to abuse those algorithms and substitute the connection and creating the relationship.
Would you say it's the dating app's responsibility?
For sure.
Okay.
100%.
How do you do that then? Because obviously it is happening on places like Tinder, Bumble and Hinge, where people are using their chatbot to speak to potentials. How do you encourage, or how do you stop that from happening?
I believe we are far away from like old app users using ChatGPT to help them to write the conversation messages. So as for now, we mostly use it to check on the new users before we allow them to communicate with other people and on the platform. But I believe we will see more and more algorithms that check on the messages and say, is it generated or is it a real one? So as for now, we do nothing on checking messages, but I believe it's the next steps.
Interesting. I'm really curious about this idea of diversity and inclusion when it comes to the dating world and dating apps, and what AI and machine learning is exacerbating in this space. A really good example you and I were talking about is on Grindr. There has been a big focus on what has been happening in terms of fat people, Southeast Asian people, and it being very clear that people are not interested in there, and therefore they're not shown to other audience.
So they are limited from the algorithm to show to
exactly.
Another users.
So how does that work, and how do we combat it? Is it something that dating apps should be thinking about?
I can say for Grindr or for another dating apps. So I can say only for our applications. We, in some way, like combine it to application like Highlight and Taimi. We have more than 400,000 daily active users, and it's not so big yet, but it's growing. And I believe if you tweak your algorithms in a way to limitate on some, on some people to like not show them on your app. For us, it's a suicide mission. So we want to be as much inclusive as we could. So we want every user to get whatever they want from our application. So it's not our case, but I believe it has not to be the case in another dating application as well. So.
But is it just the dating app's responsibility, or is it user responsibility too? I don't know if you remember when Grindr came under fire for some of these things, they did this big campaign of like, why you should date differently, why you have unconscious bias around your dating preferences, and they took the responsibility for re-educating our choices. Are our choices our own, or are they media-led? Where do you stand on that front?
I think it's always on the side of the dating application, because if you really want to change something in the behavior of the users, you could change their preferences a little bit to show them new users that they are limited from, from their feed. And it's a little bit tricky, but in a way it's a useful thing to do, and it's educating thing to do to make algorithms more broad on the people who are limited their preferences.
Okay, so we've talked a bit about the past, and we've talked a little bit about what's happening now. What's going to happen in the future? We titled this Love, Sex and Robots. Is there actually going to be robots on our dating apps? Are we going to be taking them home on one night? What is this future that we're looking forward to?
Let me have my tarot cards. Actually, it's a really good question, and I believe more and more, not only the dating apps, but the communication platforms will use some help of artificial intelligence and algorithms and so on and so forth, just to enhance, in a way, the communication, that people communicate with each other. The main thing is to remember not to give the full control to the AI in your communication, to not lose this humanity in a way of using technology in establishing new connection and communication. So I don't know if there will be only robots communicating on behalf of us, but I truly believe not. We will stand only on the side of the real connections and the real communication.
I think that's really interesting because on one extreme we're seeing this big push of like sex tech and people moving to, for example, robotic sort of partners, and we've seen VR and porn. But there's also on the other side, there's been this really big push to real life and much more like person-to-person connection, with Thursday releasing the pairing. Is anyone wearing a pairing in the audience? They're not.
No.
Do you want to explain what it is? So the pairing is this idea that if you're single, you wear this ring. When you're out and about in the real world, someone else is wearing it, and you both know you're single and you're both open. And obviously there's a whole load of questions in there in terms of like safety, being open to connection. But it is this idea that maybe people are feeling like this world of dating is quite saturated and they want to move into more in-person connection. Is that another potential future which is so disparate from the robotic future?
I think, no, I mean, yeah, it's a potential because new dating app that's evolving for the last years are trying to serve the smaller communities, like I don't know, to people, to dog persons or cat persons or whatever. And when you are concentrating on some not so big segment of the audience, you could serve them really well and understand their needs and their wants. So I believe we will see more dating apps that like serving a small group of people or audience or something like that.
Okay, so my final question around the specificity bit then is, we often, when we started it on the dating apps, it was one-to-one. We're now seeing an increase in acceptance around polyamory, for example. How are dating apps going to be serving that audience?
I don't know, for me, like what we do with Taimi is now we call it like fluid dating app, because we don't want to limit our users just to be in a box. Like, you know, because of that we have inside the application we have the ability to choose between 17 sexual orientation and 22 gender identification.
17 sexual identifications and 22 gender. Yeah. Okay.
And what you have to give your user is just a freedom, an ability to choose, to experiment, to understand themselves better. So the main idea of this fluidity is just some people are always wondering, and some people always trying to find themselves, find what they really want from their partner, from their life. So I believe it's another trend, and we are on the way to implement more and more feature, like to give our user more control on their dating life.
Is it just control, or is it also education around what ethical non-monogamy is?
Education, perfectly said. Education as well. So we try not just to give the control, but to speak with our audience, to have more and more like articles and educational videos about like how to find yourself at that time. So yeah.
Like what? Can you give more examples of what that education would look like? Say if someone had no clue what polyamory was, they came on, they had all these options, how do they know how to filter?
You know, it's always better to understand someone else's story and to find it like what to do next. If you know how people operate in some like environments while they are questioning or trying to find who they are, it's always better when you know someone, or if the platform allows you to read more and more stories about people like you.
And my final question to end our wonderful conversation here at Web Summit is, we have a very interesting time at the moment where we have sex as a need and love as something that people aspire to. what is the dating app's kind of role in ensuring that people find the right thing, that there is an understanding of what people are looking for, and how much is the dating app kind of industry impacting our choices? Because you want us on the apps, right? You don't want us to leave and fall in love and get married and have 10 kids and never come back on. You want us back on in 3 months.
No, it's not the desire of the dating application. It's the nature of people, you know. And only because of that we try to not to be pushy on our users. If they come back, whatever the reason is. But I believe the main idea, not just in the dating industry, but all over the application, is to bring the product that solves the problem of the user. And it's the most desirable thing to do for the founder, try to resolve some problems of the society or of the users in a best way, like how to give your audience a great instrument to communicate, to find a new friends or create a family or so on and so forth. So yeah, I believe we are responsible for the product and we are responsible for the users on our platform. So.
And where can people find you and the apps if they want to find out more about the work you're doing? Where on social media? What are the links for the app, just so people can be like, I have more questions?
I don't know. We have all the social media that you could have those times: TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn.
It's HIL.
Yeah, it's actually it's a great story because highly it stands for acronym Hi, I like you. But I believe you could find me, if you have any questions, you could find me on the LinkedIn.
It's on the program. You'll find it there. And HILY and also Taimi.
Taimi, yeah, as well.
Exactly. Alex, thank you so much for your time, and thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much. We'll go.